Well, good evening. Welcome to the Brothas-in-law. I'm your host, Corey Taylor, and I got my brother from another mother, Mr. Michael Bradley. Those of you who are new to our channel and have not had the opportunity to check us out before, Michael and I are both prior law enforcement police officers. I was a former Virginia State Trooper for 7 years, and Mike was a retired police officer from Pleasanton Police Department out in California. So we are the Brothas-in-law here to talk about different police involved shootings and giving you our perspective on them from two reasonable law enforcement officers, just giving you our insights on it, try to put give you a different perspective of that type of situation. Because at the end of the day, we need to look at what happened and what transpired before we go out here and just destroy our own communities and we missed the whole point of what actually happened in it, the shooting. So that's what we're here for, to talk about, and to how can we better policing, right, Mike?
Right. You know, we want to give you a perspective from our point of view about. We'll look at an incident and we'll tell you whether or not we feel that was reasonable, or, you know, a lot of times we've said on this show, a lot of times citizens don't know why officers do some of the things that they do. So We're here to try to shed some light on that, no matter what side of the fence you stand on. You know, if it's a reasonable action, we feel, or if it's an unreasonable action, we'll tell you. We'll tell you what we think. You know, if we were in that particular situation, would we have done the same thing, or what would we have done different, or what do we see that could be improved? Right. So thanks for joining us. We are live today.
Yeah. So before we jump into the video, please go ahead and take a second to like this, share this, and hit that notification bell so we can get this word out there and spread this information and start the dialogue of these shootings and what's taking place out here within our communities. This video here, let's see, took place in Nashville. And I think it happened probably back here in March or earlier this year. What we're looking at here is again, on both sides. We're looking at the police officers' actions as well as the citizens' actions to see where it could have been prevented, and share our thoughts on that if the officer again acted within reason. Hey, Megan, we see you. Welcome. Thank you for joining us this evening. We missed you last week, but glad you're here this week. So we'll go ahead and get into this video. I think it's a good one. And as usual, we'll go ahead and play the video first. And then afterwards, we'll go ahead and break it down. So without further ado, here we go, Mr. Mike. And this does have a little graphic to it. So please, if you have young kids and you don't want your kids to see this kind of stuff, please ask them to leave the room.
Now, was this a regular traffic stop? Was this a...
Yeah. Okay. It was a regular traffic stop. Actually, he ran the tags and the car came back with warrants.
Okay. Warrants. That's what it was. So he already suspecting that there might be somebody in this car with this warrant.
Correct.
All right. Bring your bag out here. Ma'am, stop going through it. Step right back here. What did you take out of it?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, listen. Just come back here. I think we're getting off on the wrong foot, okay?
Because I'm really confused on why I'm getting stopped.
He's got several warrants.
Okay, that has nothing to do with me.
You don't know who's in the car.
Nobody's in my car.
Well, now I know that. However, now I'm going to address the other problems.
Okay, so you want my bag and all my belongings.
So just step right back here.
Can I use the restroom?
And No, there's been audio and video recorded,
That's
just to let you know.
Okay.
23, if you did have one more, that would be good.
I'm just gonna-
Then for dispatch any in your Ewing Drive and for church, Ewing Drive and for church.
Can we step back here?
21 to 23, DVB code 3.
Negative, just code 2. So it's just in here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, was there?
Well, I'm about 5 minutes from you.
Is this?
Yes. It's coming up. Hey, Mom, I need you to come to Alpha Trinity Lane right there where C.A.L.M is and y'all are doing.
23 to 25.
I think y'all pulled over because the my name is on the car. And he wanted to know if he was in the coffee. He's not in the coffee. But I do got weed.
Hey, are you?
Pause it for a moment, Corey.
Yeah.
I'm right here and the dollar killer up.
Go ahead.
So real quick, for our viewers, up to this point, let's just make it clear how this person ended up being stopped. So this officer ran the license, but before making contact with the person, he ran this license plate, and it came back with the registered owner or someone associated with that vehicle that have warrants for their arrest.
Correct.
Okay. And a lot of people don't understand cops can run plates as much as they want, whenever they want, however many times they want to run them. That is not illegal in California. That's not illegal.
Yeah. Well, here it is.
Go ahead. Oh, it is illegal there.
Yeah,
That's
you got
interesting.
to. Yeah, you got to have that problem cause for you to run that tag. Now, I mean, I'm not going to run a tag just to run a tag. I need to have a valid reason why I'm running that tag. Because if, for example, we get what's called a signal 4, which means it comes back in like this situation here where that car or whoever's on that vehicle comes back with warrants or something like that. And if I had no true intention or had no probable cause to pull that vehicle over, man, I'm done. I lost my job.
Now, see, that's very interesting, and this is why it's a good idea for people to know. So it's different in every state. You know, obviously, it's different in Virginia compared to California. In California, as long as you're not physically detaining someone without reason, or you are stopping someone without reason, you can run the play. I could be sitting in a grocery store parking lot and look at a car that's parked there and run that license plate. You see what I'm saying? Randomly, I can do that. I don't have to have probable cause to run a license plate, because the way California sees it is by me running that license plate, again, as long as I'm not physically stopping you yet, by me running that license plate doesn't involve, it doesn't mess up the person who's in the car. It doesn't stop them from doing anything. It doesn't hinder their rights. They don't even know what I'm doing. You see what I'm saying? So as far as they are concerned, in their mind, there's no reason for them to feel detained. There's no reason for them to feel like they can't leave the scene if they want to. They could just drive away. You know, there's no detention whatsoever. So by me running your plate, I'm just running your plate. Number one, I usually run a plate to see who it's registered to for whatever reason. Maybe I think the vehicle is suspicious, you know, or something like that. Go ahead, Corey.
Now, again, for us, and this good question, Heather. Yes, if your vehicle is equipped with what we call LPRs, which stands for license plate readers, then you can do that, because at that point, your supervision knows that you're doing that, and you're usually set up in a certain place, running your LPR, license plate reader. And that's usually, we use that for to try to catch stolen vehicles, stolen license plates, things of that nature. So yes, that will be the only time, because you got that pieces of equipment that's running, and it's just running tags on
randomly running tags,
randomly running tags. So
that would be
and we can't do that.
Yeah,
Now that every vehicle, now I've heard they were supposed to get to that point where every vehicle, police marked or unmarked vehicles will get to the point where they all had the LPR system on there. But when I was there, only a certain amount of vehicles we had we were only allotted so many vehicles to have those indicators on their license plate reader indicators on there. But yeah, that's a good point. So not to go off into a big tangent, we'll go ahead and get back into the video.
Real quick.
Ahead,
Now some of our cars did have LPRs, Heather, and we used those a lot, obviously. Just to give you a quick example, we had a lot of thefts at the mall. We would sometimes just drive up and down the mall parking lot for the LPR to read all the plates, so that if there was a theft at the mall or something like that, we might have a lead to go off of if we can prove that a particular car was there at a certain time. So that's LPR is just another tool to use besides the officer just running plates out here in California. Go ahead, Corey.
All right, here we go, y'all. Sorry about that.
No, that's good.
Richard and you.
13, can I be starting around? You're about 4 minutes away. Disregard on that.
What was that he had in his hand? Was that marijuana or something?
Yeah, that's what it looked like, a little dime bag.
Okay. You drive return and the Dollar General. Can I have you start from the 23? Thank you.
Okay, pause for a sec. I know there's just so many things come to mind. Now, at this point, as an officer, we already talked about why he stopped her. He had PC to stop her because he ran the plate, came back and had some warrants. So he can stop her for that, okay? Don't have to have any traffic violation or nothing like that. All he needed for his probable cause is the system is telling him there's a warrant associated with that particular car, and that's why he stopped her. Now, what I'm confused about is how he ended up grabbing her purse and going through it, just randomly going through it, unless he was asking for ID and she says it's in her purse. So I don't know how he ended up at that point. For me, I could see if you tell me you don't have a license or you can't find your license or something like that, I might, at that point, I can at least look for a driver's license. But once he found that marijuana, guess what? That gave him probable cause to search the rest of the car. Once you find the first level of contraband, you just open the door for me to search your car and whatever else you got, because I'm looking for further contraband now. Is that how it is in Virginia, Corey?
He probably smelt it when he made his approach to the vehicle. That's what I'm guessing, because she had got out the car immediately once she came to a stop, and so she got out and you didn't hear him. Maybe he asked for a driver's license, registration, whatever. And when she opened that door to get it, he smelled that marijuana.
Okay.
So, like you said, at that point, then I'm a search you.
Yeah.
Now, again, I understand that was. I don't think the new law had come to effect now. And of course, this is Nashville, so I don't know Nashville. So, if it were here, then I couldn't do it. We couldn't search the vehicle no more. But
not anymore. It's not. Yeah, I know what you mean. Go ahead.
Right. So if this is prior to the new law coming out, then yeah, he had the right to go ahead and search the vehicle. and her pocketbook. Now I don't know if he asked to do that. I mean, maybe he did. I'm assuming he did. That's why she, went on ahead and do it. But I think she was fidgeting a little bit too much in there to take something out, because you heard him say, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you taking out of there?"
Right.
And so we'll go ahead and pick that up, because it's a lot more to unpack, and then we'll go back and break it down.
All right.
And real quick, right now, she's
Put me in handcuffs. I haven't done
she
anything
was.
wrong, man. No, don't put me in
Okay. And now the mess begins. What is he doing? Wow.
Step out. Step! Put the gun down! Put the gun down! 40-gun shot fired!
He got a shot off on him.
Yeah.
10-4, 13, code 3.
That happened so fast on the video that you couldn't really tell what she had there. But
Right.
I've seen the video where they slowed it down and showed, yeah, sure enough, she had a little pistol.
Here's the other angle.
Step out. Step! Put the gun down! Put the gun down!
You got maybe a couple of shots off on him.
Yeah, I think he did, but all right, now let's break this down.
Okay.
Where you want to start at? And she drives off.
Let's start where he is getting ready to put handcuffs on her, and why.
We'll
go ahead.
We'll start. Well,
because that's the first thing where she clearly starts to say, "No, I ain't going with the program." As soon as he says, "I'm putting handcuffs on you."
Right. I think it's right here. Let's see, and then I'll stop it. So I'm fast forward a little bit.
Okay.
13, can I be starting around? You're about 4 minutes away. Disregard, actually, disregard on that.
Yeah, I'm not done with that though. Where's your lighter at?
13, it says you're about 7 minutes.
See that? Let me stop that right there, because that was the number one problem I had right there. And I need everybody to understand this. When an officer is doing their investigation and they're going through things, that's the number one mistake you should not make, is going retrieving that pocketbook or going back inside your vehicle, because at that point, all kind of red flags are going to go off inside my head, because I might not have done a thorough search through your pocketbook and search every compartment in there. I just saw what was on the surface, and I'm not done. I don't know what's in that bag, right? You know what's in your pocketbook. You know what types of hidden compartments you can have within your pocketbook. The officer doesn't know. So when you go and grab it and start sticking your hands in it, I'm already right there on edge. Like I said, we don't carry tasers. So you go and do that with me, it's chances are I might have to draw down on you, because I don't know what you got in there, and I don't know what you finna pull out, a gun, a knife, a razor blade. I don't know. You can tell me you're getting your cigarettes. I don't know. Just do the right thing and let the officer do their investigation. Leave the pocketbook alone. And see, I think this was the start of her mistake and everything going south.
I have to agree with you there. This is why it's important you know, if you're on a stop, you are detained. You are at a point where you need to follow every single order that officer is telling you to do. If that officer wants you to stand over by the trunk, you need to go stand over by the trunk. If that officer needs you to sit down, you need to sit down. You need to do whatever it is, because at this point, when you on this kind of, especially this kind of traffic stop where there was warrants associated with this vehicle, as far as I'm concerned, I don't know if you, number one, are in fact the registered owner that has the warrant, or you might have a warrant yourself because you drive in a car that's associated with warrants. Who knows?
Right.
And that's that officer's job to further investigate that. And this is why we always say, don't go reaching in the cars when the officer didn't tell you to. We don't know. You could be going in the car to get a gun. I don't know that. So when you do that against my order, then I have to be ready for that. If I need to draw down on you, I'm going to draw down on you. Some officers might feel that's necessary to shoot because they don't know what you're grabbing after they've multiple times told you not to go in there and grab it. But you're insisting on going in to grab something.
Right.
Am I supposed to wait until you have a gun pointed at me before I decide that that's what you grabbed? It's going to be too late for me at that point.
Right. And keep in mind, the officer, I mean, I'm not going to, like you just said, I'm not going to sit here and wait to determine what it is you got in there that you so badly need to get out your pocketbook at this very moment in time. What
Especially when I'm telling you multiple times not to do it.
And I'm telling you not to. I mean, he's doing this. Now, I mean, it doesn't matter if you male or female, doesn't matter. You're not listening to my orders. Right. Remember our acronym of staying calm, compliant, answering questions, listening, moving on. She's not complying at this point. And she's definitely not listening to your instructions of what you're trying to tell her to do. All right. So something is up. Right. We know something is up. Right. What was in the pocketbook? Now we know what was in that pocketbook.
Right.
Right. He didn't find that gun. Or he didn't, because she got back in that car with that bag, right? And where it was positioned, did she reach down in there? It was well hidden in there. The officer didn't see it.
Yeah, it might have been in the center console for all we know. We don't know where that was. You know what I'm saying?
That's why you don't go digging through your stuff. And that's why you don't go back in that vehicle when the officer tells you not to get in that vehicle. This is how traffic stops go south. And this is why it always used to piss me off when I hear news media always saying, you know, when an officer does get shot or a citizen gets shot, you know, it was a routine traffic stop. No. There's nothing routine in a traffic stop because at a drop of a dime, it can go south, such as this. Now, in a perfect world, if she had, then I would say, yeah, it was a normal traffic stop because nothing happened. Nothing went wrong. But we all know law enforcement. No. Now, I mean, I'm pretty sure she would just got charged with the marijuana or whatever it was that she had, and be done.
And another thing, real quick, you know, don't be surprised if some officers don't want you talking on your cell phone while they're on a traffic stop too. He allowed her to do a lot of talking on that cell phone. And the reason why that could be a safety issue is I don't know if you calling somebody to the scene to come help you out or something. I don't need somebody else coming to the scene while I'm trying to control what's going on. You could be calling your criminal buddy over here to come shoot me. I mean, this is how officers have to think. We have to think this way to maintain safety. And that's why it's very important. Something as trivial as you talking on the cell phone may seem very trivial to you as the citizen. But they have to understand, to an officer, that could be a safety issue. That's why we might tell you, I don't want you talking on your cell phone while I'm dealing with you. Okay. That's a safety issue. But again, she gets back in that car. As soon as he says, I'm going to handcuff you, that's when the real stuff starts happening. And she starts running away from him, trying to get away from him. All that screaming and stuff. I think she was just trying to make a scene or make an issue of it to try to distract him. That's what I think. Because she knew she had that gun in the car.
Yeah.
And she knew when she got back in that car, she was either going to try to drive off, or as you can see what happened, she ended up grabbing that gun and shot him. Luckily he got some shots off on her. And he didn't die, from what I understand.
Yeah. So, no, and see the problem I have with him, he should have never had let her got back into that vehicle.
Right.
I think that's where when his opportunity of tasing her, when she first took off and he said, I'm gonna tase you, right then he should have hooked her up and tased her. I think two, okay, you waited, now she gets back in the car. You had her wrist. At that point, I would have collapsed her wrist and I probably would have snapped it and probably, badly sprained it, but I would have tactically, what we were trained to do, put her in a wrist lock and got her out that vehicle that way. Now, again, I think that was dangerous to let her get back in that vehicle, as we saw.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing is, this is how an officer could get into a physical confrontation that might seem excessive. Because once I say I'm going to handcuff you, it was clear that she was not going to be handcuffed. She was not going to allow that officer to handcuff her. It was clear. Soon as he would have tried to go hands-on, she would have pulled away from him, as she did. She would have tried to rush, So this is why once I get my hand on you, if I feel you pulling away, I'm going to elevate my level of contact with you, for lack of better words. Okay. I might have to twist your arm. I might have to try to get you slammed on the ground so that I can, get you handcuffed. This is how that type of situation can get out of control, simply because she chose not to go with the program.
Right. Now
she
that also leads
handcuffed because there was something in that car she was trying to get to, and that was that gun.
It was that gun, because he was ultimately going to end up probably searching that vehicle and find that gun. Chances are she might have had, like you said, or previous charges against her, or might have had a warrant out for her arrest, because he hadn't ran her information yet. So, he doesn't know. Right. So I hope you can see now how these things can go south and why an officer would do or say certain things that he or she does. It's because of this. Now, again, when we talk about the acronym of C.A.L.M, complying, answer questions, listen, and moving on, as citizens, we have to know when the gig is up. You're done. At this point, she needs to just chalk everything up as law. Hey, you got, maybe he searches the vehicle and never finds the weapon in there. Right?
Possibly.
And if he did find it, he asks her a few questions. He does his investigation with it and finds and determines, okay, maybe she didn't know it was in there. Who knows? What could have happened had she just stayed calm? I think out of this, it would have just been some side, because it didn't look like she had enough for distribution or anything like that to enough to warrant for her to go to jail. From what I seen there, just some summonses, or we call them summonses, or citations, other places call them tickets. Got a few tickets and went on about her way. Now if I found the gun, I definitely, and she's not supposed to be in possession of the gun was stolen, then obviously that's different. I'll have to confiscate that weapon.
Right.
And then whoever the rightful owner of it would come and petition to get the weapon back from us. But this is why you must stay calm. You have to understand when it's the gig is up, the gig is up, you're done. Don't go and try to take matters further into your hands because this is what happens.
Yeah, and in this case, you have an officer. Officers always have to assume until they prove otherwise to their satisfaction that the person that I'm stopping, could be someone that could hurt me, or could be someone that means me harm as an officer, or could be someone who has a warrant, who doesn't want to get arrested. Any number of reasons. We have to assume that. Therefore, we have to treat the situation as if that could happen.
Correct.
While at the same time, let's say you are a regular citizen and you don't mean any harm. You just a law-abiding citizen going on about your day, and you happen to get stopped. That's great. But either way you look at that, it's important for you to comply and follow the instructions that the officer is giving you. This woman seems like she had more of a criminal intent here. She was rolling around in a car that had warrants associated with it. So that tells you maybe what kind of company she keeps. At least as an officer, I have to assume some things just to make sure I'm staying on my toes and being safe. She could be someone who is commonly associated with criminality. Okay. If she driving around with a car with warrants on it, the car, she got a gun ready to go, ready to pull on somebody. We don't know what's going on with this woman. You see what I'm saying? We don't know her. So then when I say I'm getting ready to handcuff you, detain you, she starts acting up, pulling away, running off, running around, circles in the car. Clearly that those are actions that this woman it's not just not following instructions.
Yeah.
She has some kind of criminal intent here. Yeah. Because she got in that car and grabbed her gun. She was ready to blast, which she did.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? She was not going to be arrested.
No, she wasn't. Now, those were her mistakes. Those are the things that she should have done. Now, let's talk about what the officer should have done. In my humble opinion, I think his tactics were all wrong. I think he should have done a better job of stopping her, like we said earlier, before she got in that vehicle. And my major concern is after the shots had went off, matter of fact, let me get to that part of the video.
Okay.
And they're still tasing her right. That thing is right here. And the thing is, he's tasing her. I mean, at that point, I'd have been yanking her out that vehicle.
Yeah. But that's a difficult one because he had one hand on the taser and he was drive stunning her.
Right. Now
you only had one free hand.
My main problem is right there. Look where his weapon is. Mm-hmm. His weapon is on the ground. She's still a threat. She's in that vehicle. She still got that gun. If that were me, I'm still firing.
Yeah, did he fall down? Is this after the shots?
Yeah, when he got shot, he fell down to the ground.
Okay. That's why his gun is down on the ground like that.
That's why his gun is down on the ground like that. I get it. I know he's just been shot, and that's very traumatic. But at the same time, as we are trained, that's when your officer survival skill sets have to kick in.
True.
Right. You have to know your number one priority right now is coverage. You're sitting wide open. We train that way even in the military. Like you got to get yourself out of what we call the kill zone.
Right.
Right now he's in the kill zone. Right, because what can she do right now? And you know what?
She can get one more shot off at the head.
She can get a few more shots off. Look, now he gets back. She's starting the vehicle. Right now, there's two threats you got. She's got that vehicle. Look right there. She could have gunned it right at him.
Yeah,
and ran him over.
he's standing there like, you know. And she would,
Right.
if I understand correctly, she drives off just a little bit because he did end up hitting her with a couple of shots.
Yeah,
and I think
he
she
did
crashed her
make
car
contact.
not too far from there.
Correct. But you see the dangers he had right there. Now he could have worked himself back to that other vehicle right there and to the left right there in that parking space. He could have worked himself back to that vehicle there and got some type of coverage there. But to lose your, I mean, he's lucky and blessed to be alive, because I mean, had that been a lunatic dude, he could have ran him over, shot him some more. I mean, because he totally just dropped his guard, and
Yeah,
you know, we can't do that. I mean, that's how you lose your life
true.
as law enforcement, because now she's panicking. You know, thank God she didn't try to. You know, her main concern there was just getting away. But you know, when you drop down to the ground like that and you lay your weapon down on the ground, if she was a true killer, she would have saw that as a wide open opportunity to let him have it.
Right.
You know, so the biggest thing with officer safety for me was he should never let her got back in that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
I think he should have been more aggressive. I know y'all not gonna like hearing that, but I think he should have been more aggressive when he was first gonna put her in handcuffs. It should have never gotten to a mini little foot pursuit. Hey,
Right.
Go, welcome to the show, brother.
Right.
Should have never got to that point.
I agree. I mean, and this is why this is an example of why we don't want you to get back in your car like that until we say so. She got back in the car. Right. There's so many things in that car. As you can see, there was a gun in this car that she was able to have access to, and she used it against him. So that is the number one thing. I agree with you, Corey, in the sense that he had to be more aggressive when he first tried to grab her and handcuff her. To the point, maybe it needed to be a point where he needed to get her down on the ground. You see what I'm saying? So she was, but she was able to run around that car and get back in that car. And that's important for people to understand. These are the reasons why we will tell you, I don't want you to get back in the car. Or if I say don't reach into that car, don't reach into that car, because I don't know what you're grabbing. I don't know what's in that car. You see what I'm saying? You already are showing me that you're not going with the program simply by not following my instructions. Yep. You see what I'm saying? Yep. And that's you know. And again, you know, when you look at him, you see, you know, and I'm going to bring this up, you know, because this is important. He looks like he might not be in the best shape. Okay.
I was going to say that too.
When he got shot, he was probably to a point, not only was he shot, but due to his shape, he was probably so out of breath that he had probably like given up or not given up, but you know, he was
dropped his guard
and was just standing there watching her drive off. You see what I'm saying? Me, I would have continued shooting. And when she got back in that car, she already shot me once. I'm going to shoot her until I can make sure that this threat is gone. You see what I'm saying? Right. But I think he might have just been so out of breath and so, you know, tired. That he just didn't respond as fast. And that's important. That's officers do need to be in shape. You know, officers, that's something that's been talked about as far as long-term career goes. This is why officers need to be in decent shape when they're doing this job, because it might save their life.
Yeah, that's why we have standards. I mean, I was going to say the same thing. Got a question here from Stacy. Did he call for backup? I'm sorry, I didn't see the entire video. No, I think he did, but they did call for backup, but I think they were like 4 minutes out or something like that. So you see, these things happen very quickly. So, if you're telling who's ever coming to assist you that, everything's 10-4, we're all good. He doesn't need to run cold, which means for us running lights and sirens to me, I'm good. And then this happens. And then, next thing you know, shots are going off and everybody's like, what the hell, man? You just said everything was good. Yeah, well, we don't think like that. We're not still expedite getting there. Because we know how these things
in my opinion, if I'm a call for cover, I'm not going to say take your time. I'm calling for cover for a reason. Now, he probably saw this female. Maybe, again, Corey, he let his guard down, which he shouldn't have. And said,
because it was a female.
You ain't got to rush, thinking that it wasn't going to be no big deal. But as you can see, that female could shoot you just the same. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And fortunately, I was from an agency where if we called for a cover unit, that cover unit was there within a couple of minutes, if not sooner. You know what I'm saying? In this case, and Corey, you could attest to this too. Your cover unit might be 10 miles away.
A little bit farther.
It might be a long time for that cover unit gets there. You on your own.
You may be 20 minutes out.
Right.
And then that just depends on, because like I said, I was responsible for 3 cities. So you could be, in the next city over, and I'm on the most northern part of the other city. And running lights and siren, it still may take you 30 minutes to get to me.
Right.
And that's getting through the traffic. So, at that, something like that were to happen, I would just call a local PD to come up and assist me. They would get to me a lot quicker, which has happened. And my shift partner, they're still coming to me no matter what. But that's why it's important, even officers, we can't let our guards down because these things happen.
Right.
When you don't, like we used to say in the Navy, if you don't keep your head on a swivel, these type of things happen. Your radar system as an officer is always rotating, right? Because you always hope for the best, but is it expect the worst or hope for the best to happen in these situations, right? We want these to be compliant stops, but we know good and well that they never end that way. Most of them, I said that backwards. Most of them end the way we like for them to end, but there are those out there that don't end that way, and this will definitely be one of those that just didn't end the right way. Luckily, she didn't die, nor did he. So even though it was a bad situation,
one of the quickest way to raise a red flag to an officer is to not follow instructions, not do simple things that they are telling you to do because you don't feel it's necessary. Okay. LP, real quick, LPRs, Heather Buckman mentioned LPRs too. LPRs don't necessarily tell you whether there's warrants associated with the cars either.
No.
So that's the big difference with an LPR. LPR strictly scans a license plate and can tell you what car it belongs on, basically. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
And if I'm not mistaken, it might tell you the registered owner's name. I'm not even sure about that. I think it just scans the plate and scans what car it's, and so you can see what car is on that plate and what kind of vehicle it's supposed to be.
Correct.
But that's it. You have to do what they call run warrants checks on a license plate to tell if a license plate has some kind of warrants attached to it. And again, out in California, you can do that freely as an officer without having to detain anyone. Just on that quick note, just to clarify what the purpose of the LPRs are, and that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is one of those stops that's, this is why it's important to comply, because this is what officers think could happen on a traffic stop. You see what I'm saying? Even if, let's hope it doesn't happen, but we have to be prepared in case this type of stop does happen. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, let us know what you think about this video here. Did the officer act responsibly in your opinion? I mean, we'd love to hear what you had to say.
Absolutely.
I think everything was fine up to the point where he was going to put handcuffs on her. And there's a couple little things in the beginning as far as, her not really complying off. Right.
Right.
And where it started going wrong for me was when she grabbed her pocketbook after he, had set it down and walked back to his car. I think he should have brought the pocketbook back to his car and set it on his hood. That's what we would normally do.
Mm-hmm.
That way you don't have access to it. But those are nitpicky type things. I think though, but once he was going to go hands on with her and put her in handcuffs, I think that's where everything for me changed. Like I said, I would have been a little more aggressive with putting her in handcuffs. And like I said, at that point, again, the game is over. You've been busted. You need to go ahead and comply. Turn around, get put in handcuffs. And at this time, she wouldn't have still been under arrest because he didn't say those words, hey, you're under arrest, nor did he get the chance to say it. But I think at that point, she still would have been in detained status until he did the investigation within the car to make sure the car was clean with no further drugs and obviously the weapon.
Right.
But it didn't get that far. So
especially since she was out the vehicle and there was stuff going on that he felt uneasy about, clearly, which is why he made the decision to put handcuffs on her.
Right.
I'm going to at least put handcuffs on you to make sure that you ain't going to, that I'm seeing something illegal here, or that I'm getting the feeling that something ain't right here. So an officer can sense when that person he's dealing with might know that you might be getting arrested today or something along those lines.
Right.
So I'm gonna put some handcuffs on you just to make you safe so that you ain't gonna, number one, try to take off on me, or number two, try to hurt me or grab something to try to hurt me. That's why I'm gonna handcuff you.
Right.
Handcuffing does not automatically mean you are arrested. It just means that you are physically detained for many reasons, whatever reasons that officer feels is necessary. Okay.
Good question. Good question, Heather. She says, do you think the officer wasn't as aggressive due to it being a female? Probably so.
Very good question.
Think so.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think
because she was a female, he was, like you say, he relaxed his guard a little bit, thinking that
I think so.
What's she gonna do to me? Which is a deadly thought process for any officer. You don't never want to think that way. Sometimes
I think that's why. No. I was just saying. I think that's why she was able to get away, because he wasn't aggressive. Now, I'm not saying you had to manhandle her, but as you know, Heather, we have the techniques and the skill sets to properly detain somebody without being overly aggressive.
And you know what, Corey? I'm gonna say, he needed to manhandle her. He needed to handle her in a way that did not allow her to, number one, get back in that car. And once I say I'm putting handcuffs on you, I'm putting handcuffs on you one way or another.
You do what you have to do, but I'm not saying for me in manhandling, I mean, he ain't got to throw up against the car, and he can do it by strength.
I see what you're saying.
Again, I think his overall physical appearance would have prohibited him from being aggressive as he should have.
I see what you're saying. I can agree with that to a point. He don't have to throw her up against the car, but you know what? As an officer, any reasonable officer wouldn't throw him up against the car like that anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Unless it was necessary, like we getting ready to scuffle here. That's a different ball game. But
Well, I'm saying he had plenty of opportunity to put her like in an arm bar or something
he
like that.
did.
He could have
did.
got a hold of her and overpowered her a certain way to I mean, you know, so yeah, in a mitigated aggressive way, if you will, and got control over her and not, you know, I think to Heather's question, I mean, yeah, that has a lot to do with it. Honestly, I mean, guys are always going to be handle women a little different.
I could agree with that. I can agree with that, and I think in this situation, that's probably what happened. He saw that she was a female. For some reason, he didn't feel as threatened by this female to allow her to go in and out of the car as she pleased, go in, grab her pot. He allowed this female to do things that I would hope he normally wouldn't do.
Yeah.
And I agree with you on that point. You know what I'm saying? But I, you know, as we both have seen females that can handle their business. So I've seen some females that can clearly overpower some officers, and to the point where you got to get two officers on them. You know, in other words, as an officer, you know, Corey, I don't think you and I, because you're a female, I'm still going to assume that you can hurt me just the same. You know what I'm saying? In other words, you have the same chances of hurting me as anybody else.
True.
But to Heather's question, I think you're right. I think that had something to do with this particular guy, probably. And sometimes, you know, unfortunately, when officers have been doing the job for many years, towards the end, sometimes I think they got to remind themselves not to become lackadaisical, not to become so relaxed or off guard. You got to remember what you're doing, no matter how long you've been doing it, so that you can stay safe. You know, don't just assume that this is going to be another traffic stop.
Yeah, and again, this is one of those things too, where we as citizens, we have to understand that this is a two-way street. The officers got a job to do. I've been busted. Now I have to put my grown-ups pants on and deal with the consequences that are going to come with this, right? It's not worth you getting shot or the officer getting shot over what? A dime bag of weed, because that's how the media is going to play that, you know, she got shot for a dime bag or something. No, that's not why she got shot. She got shot because she shot at him. Right.
And I don't think the officer did anything necessarily unreasonable here. He might have had a couple of officer safety issues.
Yeah, he had quite a few officer safety issues.
But to say that he did something unreasonable that was, you know, that was wrong towards the person he was stopping. No, I don't think so. He had every right to stop this woman. Ran the plate, had some warrants. I'm going to stop you. He had every right. And the woman got out the car on her own. I wouldn't have had her get out of the car, at least not initially. You know, but she went on and jumped out of the car, which we never recommend people do. Always
you don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, but she went on and jumped out the car. You know, as soon as she started being argumentative, that's a red flag for me. Well, right out the gate. Why are you stopping me? What's that got to do with me? Okay, you the driver of a car that's got warrants. You should expect that you're gonna get stopped by the cops if somebody run your plate. Okay, so you know the fact that she was argumentative, red flag. The fact that she kind of didn't want to go with the program, obviously red flag. And the biggest red flag was when he started to handcuff her. She said, "Oh no." Yeah, and that was on. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. She just changed that whole contact into something way more than it needed
to be. Yeah. So, like I was saying, though, to alleviate these situations from happening again, I think we have to know that when it's up, we've been busted, we've been caught, whatever, speeding, having a little drugs, having a weapon, you know, and that's about that. You got to recognize that it's over. don't go and try to take matters into your own hand. It's over. Let's not be argumentative with the police officer on the side of the road or in the parking lot like we are here. Just recognize the fact that you've been busted. The gig is up. Put your big boy, big girl pants on and deal with the consequences, because it's not worth you losing your life. I don't get it when people saying, well, I don't want to go back to jail again. Well, hell, you rather die?
Right.
I don't get that concept some of these guys out here would have. You want to risk your life because you don't want to go back to jail. But hey, you big enough to commit the crime and commit these offenses, then you ought to be big enough to handle the consequences that go along with it.
And the bottom line is, officers always know that people gonna fight them. People will always fight the cops. Unfortunately, you're gonna have an element of people who will always fight the cops. You're gonna have an element of people who's always gonna argue with why they were stopped. You can always have people that's gonna say that officer did something unreasonable simply because they don't know the common tactics of a police officer.
But what we're trying to do, though, right, is stop these things from happening. Right?
Sure.
How did that's the point. Well, one of the points. We had a lot of points to this show, but that's one of the things to start these type of conversations. Like you getting these points of views from us, and it is my hope that our listeners take this information and share it with their loved ones and their friends that they know are out here doing things, or even if they're not out here doing bad things, but even if you get stopped for a traffic violation, to stay calm, to do what is right. Hey, if you weren't speeding, you weren't speeding, hey, all right, still take the L, go to court and articulate your case in court. If the judge sides in your favor, good to go. If he sides in the troopers or the officers favored, then it is what it is. Guess what? You can appeal that case, right? You live to fight another day in court, not on the side of the road, because I'm tired of people. I don't care if you're black, white, Puerto Rican, Jew. I don't care. I'm tired of people losing their lives from a traffic stop, and it doesn't have to be that way. That's my thing. That's how I want to be able to fix this, is start this type of conversation so we don't have situations like this young lady here happening on a daily basis.
True. Now, and and one of the reasons why we do this and explaining what we see in videos and whether we think it's reasonable or not, it's just to show citizens, yeah, this is what we would have done in that situation, no matter what color you are. Right. We would have done this in that situation or not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, if anything, we want to try to at least educate people on what is normal for police to do. You see what I'm saying? And that is whether they agree with it or not, really is kind of beside the point, because you can argue that in court. You see what I'm saying? But yes, it's reasonable to, something drew this officer's attention to this car, why he chose to run this plate. And guess what? It came back with warrants, And now, you got a lot of people saying, well, officers shouldn't be able to just check people for warrants or something. How do you think warrants get caught? Most warrants get caught this way. Traffic stops. You know what I'm saying? Running somebody's license comes back with a warrant, because I stopped somebody for a brake light out. I'm checking their license to ensure that their driving status is valid. And guess what? It comes back with warrants. Traffic stops and citizen contacts like this are probably the most common way that warrants are even caught. You see what I'm saying? And it is what it is. I mean, there are reasons why officers are very specific in trying to control a situation where they come in contact with you. There are reasons why we'll tell you not to go into your car under certain circumstances. There are reasons why we might tell you, I don't want you talking on your cell phone while I'm dealing with you. We explain that. And there, many citizens should know by now what raises red flags for police officers. You see what I'm saying? We're just trying to keep safe. And if there's something you need to be arrested for, we'll arrest you. If not, go on about your business.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in you if it ain't nothing else to go, nothing else to do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, just be careful. Be careful out there and comply. That's the comply, answer questions, listen, and move on.
Yep. Stay calm. All right, everybody. Hey, we're right at an hour tonight. I think this was a good show, good video, good talk. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your questions. And we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. But make sure you take the time to like this video, share it out to everybody. The more people we get engaged in these types of conversations, the better we are as a community. And ultimately, we unite and come together as one, as a nation, and be able to come together and work together and stop these things from happening. So if there's a particular question you have, please hit us up on Facebook or over on Instagram. It's down below, scrolling down below. Or if you got our phone numbers, you want to just call and text us and talk to us that way, hey, feel free to have at it. Hit us up on Facebook, on our personal Facebook page. Mike has his personal Facebook page, and we got the Brothas-in-law.
And on the YouTube channel too. You can make comments at the bottom of the video.
Yeah.
We'll check. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Sometimes I'm bad at checking those comments. Sometimes Corey doesn't, but we'll get checked at some point or another, and we'll answer your questions there too.
Oh yeah. We'll definitely answer your questions over on Facebook or on YouTube. Sorry. So hey, definitely make sure you like this, share it out, and let us know what you think about this video here. And if you have one that you have questions about and you would like for us to talk about it, actually, I think next week we're going to do one. One of our viewers has a video they would like Mike and I to discuss, so we'll do that one next week. I think it's about a young man that got killed. I think he got killed last year from Colorado. I can't remember the young man's last name, but I think his first name was Elijah.
Was it McLean? Elijah McLean, wasn't it?
I think so. That sounds about right. But anyway, we'll talk about that one next week. Y'all have a blessed weekend. Oh, let us know what you think about our shirts, the Brothas-in-law with the YouTube symbol, and I don't have one on the back. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the back?
There it is. Yeah, I can see it. Stay calm, compliance questions.
Let us know what you think about it. If you'd like to have one, hit us up at the Brothas-in-law 21@gmail.com to get you one. All right, y'all. We out. Peace. And hair grease. Oh, shoot. Let me hit the end broadcast. All right, y'all. Have a good weekend.